In the world of Fullmetal Alchemist, one rule governs the very fabric of reality: equivalent exchange. It is a simple phrase with immense philosophical depth. In order to obtain something of equal value must be lost. On the surface, it mirrors the laws of conservation in physics, reflecting that nothing can be created from nothing. But at its core, equivalent exchange is not just a scientific principle, it is a moral code, a spiritual burden, and ultimately a philosophical illusion. The Elric brothers, Edward and Alphonse, learned this rule in the most devastating way possible. After losing their mother to illness, their grief and desperation lead them to commit the forbidden act of human transmutation. What they learn in that moment is that some things cannot be quantified or measured. In trying to bring back a human life, they lose parts of themselves. Edward, his arm and leg; Alphonse, his entire body. The law of equivalent exchange, they believe, had failed them. But what it truly did was reveal its deeper meaning. Some things have no equal. The anime, across both 2003's adaptation and Brotherhood, uses this central concept to interrogate broader questions about the cost of human ambition, the weight of guilt, and the human desire to fix what has been broken. Edward's metal limbs, the automail, are more than just prosthetics. They are a permanent reminder of the price he paid for knowledge and a testament to his resolve. Alphonse's hollow armor is a metaphor for the void that trauma can leave behind. But behind the personal tragedies, the story invites viewers to ask, is equivalent exchange a universal truth or a comforting lie? This question becomes particularly urgent in Brotherhood's portrayal of the monkey lion father. Here we see beings who mock the principle entirely. They take without giving, devour souls to gain power, and exist outside the moral universe that binds the protagonists. Father, the being behind the curtains, attempts to ascend beyond humanity to repeal consumption. His desire is to become a perfect being by removing all weakness, pain, and emotion, a god without burden. In him, we see the antithesis of equivalent exchange. He represents unrestrained will, a Nietzschean Übermensch, gone mad with the ability to take without consequence. And yet, he fails. He is brought down not by strength, but by humility, by characters willing to give up themselves, not for power, but for each other. What makes Fullmetal Alchemist so enduring is that it doesn't simply preach this principle, it dismantles it, reconfigures it, and ultimately transcends it. Early in the season, equivalent exchange seems to be the perfect philosophy, a karmic balancing act where all debts are paid and gains are earned. But as the Elrics grow, they realize that life doesn't work so cleanly. Love cannot be measured, suffering is not always just, sacrifice is not always rewarded, and sometimes people give everything and still lose. Yet even in that, there is beauty. In one of the story's most powerful scenes, Edward offers his gate of truth, his access to infinite knowledge, to bring back his brother's body. In doing so, he breaks the very rule he once clung to. He gives up power, not to gain something, but to restore balance born from love. It is not equivalent exchange, it is more. The true thesis of Fullmetal Alchemist lies not in the law, but in the subversion. Equivalent exchange is not the end of the story, it is the beginning. The real journey is learning when to let go of balance, when to give without hope or return, when to love despite pain, and when to trust others to share your burden. In this way, Fullmetal Alchemist becomes a meditation on human condition. We trade time for experience, youth for wisdom, innocence for understanding. We lose loved ones, only to carry their memory forward. These are not equal trades, they are meaningful. Ultimately, the law of equivalent exchange reflects humanity's deep desire to make sense of suffering. If there is a balance, then there is justice. If there is a cost, then maybe there is a reason. But the truth is, as the Elrics discover, it's far more complicated. Life is unfair, but that doesn't mean it is without value. Fullmetal Alchemist teaches us that sometimes the most important things are those we give freely: our compassion, our hope, our willingness to fight for a better world. And in fact, in the act of giving, we may find something greater than balance, a heart made full metal. The gate of truth, a silent, absolute monolith that watches unmoving across dimensions. It appears only to those who dare challenge the limits of knowledge, those who pay the ultimate price to glimpse beyond the veil. And yet, for all its mystery, the gate is not simply a source of power or horror. It is a mirror, a reflection of the soul. Alphonse Elric stands as the most haunting embodiment of what equivalent exchange truly means. Not just the physical law, but the spiritual ethic. Trapped in a suit of armor, without touch, without warmth, without heartbeat, Al's condition is not merely tragic, it is symbolic. He is the cost, the price paid for a dream born in desperation. A dream to undo death, to outwit reality. And for years, he moves forward not to regain his body, but to restore his brother's sense of purpose. That's the very irony of the Elric brothers. Their sacrifices are always tangled. Ed loses his body to save Al risks his soul to protect Ed. Their bond forms a recursive loop of love and guilt, of giving and losing, a tragic spiral that forms the moral heart of the story. But the most powerful moment in Alphonse's arc is not the moment he regains his body, it's the moment he chooses to give up again. In the final arc, when all is unraveling, when death and ruin closes in, Al doesn't beg for restoration, he offers himself freely to save someone else. He gives not what is asked, but what he has, his soul, his being, his entire existence. Not because he's a hero, but because he understands what love demands, that real equivalent exchange is not always balanced, that sometimes to heal another, you must be willing to vanish. And yet, he returns, he is restored. Not because the world is merciful, no, but because he recognizes the depth of that gift. That's the unspoken paradox of sacrifice. When offered freely, it becomes holy. Not in the divine sense, but in a metaphysical one. An offering that transcends fairness and touches grace. This is what makes Fullmetal Alchemist. This is what Fullmetal Alchemist teaches us beneath its battles and transmutations. That equivalent exchange is not cold arithmetic. It's not just a transaction, it's an invitation to integrity, to empathy, to humility in the face of power. The gate doesn't just take, it teaches. And its lessons are always the same. That the greatest truths are not learned by seizing more of the world, by surrendering more of yourself. What makes Fullmetal Alchemist resonate so deeply isn't just the alchemy, or the war, or even the heartbreak. It's the philosophical stillness beneath the chaos. The idea that all things, no matter how vast or small, are governed by unseen balances. That suffering has a cost, love has a weight, and the universe, silent and ancient, does not give without taking something in return. But what happens when this principle is turned inward? What does equivalent exchange mean? Not in the manipulation of matter, but in the transformation of self? Edward Elric loses his arm, his leg, and a part of his soul, not merely because of a transmutation gone wrong, but because of hubris, because of the belief that human willpower can overpower the rules of existence. But that pain is not punishment, it's tuition. He pays with pain, and in return, he learns the weight of grief, the price of love, the danger of certainty. This is the quiet brilliance of Fullmetal Alchemist. It shows us that equivalent exchange is not just the law of alchemy, it's the law of growing up. You cannot become stronger without letting go of something. You cannot save others without being willing to suffer. You cannot hope to heal the world without being changed by its wounds. And most of all, you cannot reclaim what you've lost unless you're willing to understand why you lost it. This is why Edward's final sacrifice, the rejection of alchemy, is not a contradiction of equivalent exchange. It is the purest form. He gives up power for peace, control for trust. He lets go of the thing that once defined him, because he understands now that human worth isn't measured in ability, but in intention. And so when Ed walks away from the gate, he's no longer a boy chasing resurrection, but a man choosing life. He embodies the final truth of equivalent exchange. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can give is yourself.